Oh, thank you, Morgan. Awesomely great advice and a touching story. I'm going to give us a little gratitude recap from the month. First Sunday, we covered how materialism leaves you broke, and it's not possessing things that does the damage. It's the prioritizing of money, possessions, and image that makes you unhappy, ultimately. Two of our suggestions, ways to choose gratitude, were one, spend time with other people. So yay, everybody here, you're spending time with other people. Two, appreciate what you've got. Last week, how to increase gratitude as we show up for our village, our team, our family, our small group. These two ideas were, one, practice intentional trust and choose what matters, the meaning of your work, the greater and higher purpose that underlies your spiritual journey. I forgot to line up the talk to Roland. Is the first slide ready if I hit go, or would you bring up the first slide for me? Okay. So today, I'm going to talk about thanks for the lift. And this talk started out to be gratitude for fathers, gratitude for father figures, and the good men in our lives, and even the male part of each one of us, you know, the fatherly or the masculine part of us. And then the message turned into gratitude for the lifts along the way that we have been given. Grace, that's a concept. It's another word for pure source, another word for God, except that grace has the connotation of help along the way. I have a strong memory of growing up in Seattle where you saw a lot of sun coming through clouds, you know, with those little beams of light. And I always liked it. That was grace to me. It's an outpicturing of help along the way that came, obviously I was thinking from, you know, somewhere above me. We know it comes inside of us. It's a spiritual lift for the journey, delivered through people, angels, animals, and sometimes right into our hearts and minds and soul. So let's see if I remember how to do this. Whoa. Okay. Whoops. I'm going to go back to that one. I wanted to show the pictures of what we learned about, and I forgot to put them up while we were talking about it. Look at that really attractive group of people up there. Spend time with other people. Whoops. Appreciate what you've got. That was a whole bunch of kids, what we've got. Practice intentional trust. I know, really. And that was the word cloud that we made last week. All of us in here, we gave some suggestions about the meaning and the purpose of Unity of Des Moines. And we came up with that word cloud. Whoops, here we go. That was where I was supposed to say thanks for the lift, but you know. Isn't that the best picture ever? I know. It's like, you just like, oh. It's like you want to be the hands holding the baby. You want to be the baby being held, and we are both of those things, right? We are both of those things. And even if we can't remember a father who held us and loved us, because some of us didn't have that kind of father, we still got some lifts along the way. We still got some help that was like that. You know? We still got that. And we have also been given the opportunity to do that. Now, as I'm talking about grace, I continued on talking about it like it's the force. You all know what the force is. It's the substance of the universe. That is a classic unity description of grace. The substance of the universe. It's good, it's love, it's unmistakable. I used to say that the universe is tipped in our favor. That's what grace is. That it's like when you're gambling, I haven't gambled for a long time. Let's just say you're at Tahoe and you're gambling. The house always wins because the odds are tipped in favor of the house. Well, as we gamble our way through life, I would say that life is tipped in our favor because of grace. Okay? Because of grace. And yet, a week and a half ago, 2 public figures committed suicide. And I could only imagine, and I imagine this with all respect and love and empathy, that they were not necessarily in a state of consciousness where they felt like life was tipped in their favor, right? And who amongst us has not been in a period like that, you know, where we felt, no, the universe is against me. It is not tipped in my favor. So how am I able to sit here and talk about grace? Well, I am speaking about these people with absolute respect and love and empathy and guessing what they might be to make a point. I myself have experienced diagnosed depression, and I have received so much help from therapists, from medication, and from grace, from my connection to spirit. Not to mention family and people and babies, your kids that come to Sunday school, all of it. And I remember a speaker when I worked at Unity of Boulder. This guy, whose name was Douglas Block, came around 2002. And he had written a book called When Going Through Hell, Don't Stop. And When Going Through Hell, Don't Stop. I was really impressed with him. And at the time, he talked about what got him through his medication-resistant depression was people who supported him. And I visited his website, and I found a treasure trove of books and articles, and that's his website, put up there. And I found that he had, since I'd talked to him in 2002, he had really expanded. Like, he actually stayed with us that week. He was doing sometimes guests. He was from Oregon. He stayed at our house in Colorado. So I actually got to spend a lot of time with him. And he talked about depression, and his main point was don't stop, don't stop, keep going, and appreciate the support you get. And this website has so much more to it. It's like in, how many years that I was been there, 15 or so years, and talked to him. He has expanded, and he had so much more to give. And I looked at his picture, and his face had changed. His face had relaxed. There was a transformation. And my point is this: I was thinking about, man, there's things that suck, like depression and anxiety, etc., or even worse things, many worse things. But even that is tipped for grace, because I don't think that Douglas would have said that when he was in the midst of, let's see, I'd give a little quote from him. In order to stay, in the fall of 1996, I suffered a life-threatening depressive illness. I was plagued with dark suicidal thoughts that alternated with out-of-control anxiety and agitation. I was living in a hell created by my own disordered brain. In order to stay alive, I developed a series of strategies which I called my daily survival plan for living in hell. Eventually, those tools helped me to get well, and later I used them to form the foundations of my depression recovery program. My point is this. When he was in the midst of that, he didn't think there was any purpose, right? But all I had to do was remember him talking to the people at Unity of Boulder, and then look at his website and just think about how many people, including myself, who were being helped by the tools that he, and just looking at his face and see that transformation of, the worst state of being into the best, the best that is connected and loved and being able to help and extend love and peace to somebody else. And I thought, okay, that's tipped for good, That's tipped for good, that he can now help people. It just really sunk into me because I know that life is tipped for good. I will never again spend a period of time where I will never again spend a long period of time where I feel hopeless and helpless. It will come. I mean, I kind of laugh at how I can still get a wave of, I don't want to be here, or whatever it is, whatever you're experiencing, whether it's the air conditioning apparently not working or whatever, whatever you're doing. Unhappiness, grief, all the things that plague us, tiredness, just all the things that plague us. But I have this deep knowing that will never, ever go away because of my connection to Spirit. It doesn't mean that I won't forget in the minute, but I also know that if I wait a minute, something can shift. And I have tools. I have these wonderful tools from Douglas and many other people, and the tools that we give each other here. So I know that life is tipped for good. So here's what I want to say. Suspend your disbelief and go along with me. Your life has a master plan. You are here to grapple with depression or overcome addiction or forgive an abusive parent. You are here to learn to love a relative or friend who ceaselessly and systematically pushes all your buttons, or to stand up for truth, or to deal with pain and illness, or to heal the whole planet starting with yourself, and so on and so on. You are here to go through these things and furthermore to live and create moments of joy and wonder. Me too. And we signed up for it. Embedded along the way, there is help. Like hidden coins and jewels that you win in video games when you sneak into a little part and bam, there's a whole bunch of whatever you want. Or, and this is a very long ago metaphor, when you used to ride the carousel in the park and apparently in ancient times you could grab a ring. I don't know, but I read about it. Okay, so there's help along the way. And asking is always a good idea. Asking is a great idea. I often say, I ask for all spiritual help available to me right now. I say that whenever I feel stuck. And help can be insistent. I have actually had help show up in my life. There was a spiritual book. It was, I forget the title. It was Love Without End, Jesus Speaks by Glenda Green. That book came to my house and my place of work when I worked at Unity of Boulder 3 times, free copies. Well, by the 3rd time, I didn't throw it away or give it away. I wouldn't have thrown it away. Give it away. I read it. I mean, it's interesting. I've had a lot of opportunities like that where spiritual teachers or friends or experiences, have you ever had that where they go by and you let it go, goes by again, you let it go, and then finally like, okay, already, and you take it, and it's a wonderful experience. That's help. Okay, so let's be grateful. Let's be grateful for these things. Let's end with some gratitude. Whoa, this is just too fast. All right. We're going to be grateful. These are some of the things that that came in our word cloud. Teaching our children. connection. Oh, okay, we are going to have to do something with this. Transformation. All-inclusive. My happy place. Spiritual growth. Letting go of things I don't need. That's a bunch of hot coals that someday we're going to have in the parking lot and walk over and let go of all the things we don't need, like fear, right? Mm-hmm. And community. So, I know this even as I'm learning it in this lifetime. I know it within my being. I know it as I watch myself flounder and feel overwhelmed and helpless and hopeless. I still know. So let us know this for each other. Let us be grateful. Let us follow the suggestions that the universe gives us. Let us use the toolkits that are available. And let us avail ourselves of grace and faith and say thanks for the lift. Let's take an offering for unity. We're going to take an offering for unity, and then right afterwards we're going to take an offering for DMARC, because this month of June, the Des Moines Area Religious Council, which supplies